They thought exile was the ending, but exile was only the generator. What you built there wasn't a comeback plan. It was a current. Invisible, relentless, unstoppable once it hit the surface. Currents don't ask for permission. They pull, they reroute, they decide who stays afloat and who gets swept away. And now, every step you take, every room you enter, isn't just you moving through the world. It's the world bending to the undertow you created. The question isn't whether the current will reach them. It's whether can they survive it. Carrying the work into the world. The practices that steadied you in the dark, the meditations, the grounding, the pages in your journal were never just for survival. They were training. They kept you tuned to your own frequency long enough to see what was possible beyond survival. And that tuning doesn't end just because you step back into the world. In fact, it matters more than ever. Because the moment your healed self walks into a space, you're no longer a passive presence. You're a catalyst. The double-edged current. Your energy just doesn't enter a room. It bends the air. It tilts the conversation. It rearranges the pecking order without a word. But here's what most forgot. Currents don't only flow one way. Some spaces will rise to meet you, like standing in front of a mirror that doesn't reflect where you've been, but flashes a glimpse of where you're headed. Others will try to pull you under, not with open hostility, but with the slow drag of comfort zones. The undertow of stay the same. Because you've integrated, you've sat with your own shadows until they soften their grip. You can feel the difference. You don't mistake a high tide for danger. And you don't romanticize the waters that want you to drown. The double edge is this. Every encounter either fortifies the code you live by or it tests it. And both have value if you're paying attention. Recognizing your place in the exchange. This is where humility becomes strength. Not the humility of shrinking yourself, but the kind that recognizes someone else's mastery and lets it pull you forward. You can carry the blueprint and still remodel. You can hold the map and still add new routes. Because your frequency is not fixed, it's alive. But in the right environment, it will climb. The danger of rushing the climb. But hear me, this is not a race. You just landed. Your lungs are still full of the smoke you walked through. Your legs are still remembering the weights of the change you left behind. If you rush to match someone else's altitude before you catch your own breath, you start building from a place of insecurity instead of stability. You'll confuse aspiration with self-doubt. And the climb will feel like punishment instead of evolution. And then there's the other trap. Believing you have to be flawless now that others look to you for guidance. That kind of performance will drain you faster than any war you've survived. You are spirit, yes, but you are also human. And the most dangerous thing you could do here is forget that you still get to have a body, a voice, and moments where you're not the blueprint. You're just you. Integration is as holy as ascension. Don't skip it. when your presence is the lesson. Not all teaching comes from words. Some of your most profound lessons were absorbed simply by being in the presence of someone further along the path. Now, without effort, you've become that for someone else. They watch how you move, how you chose, how you don't waver when old patterns try to get your attention. And in the same breath, you find yourself studying someone else's stillness, someone else's clarity, someone whose very being reminds you that mastery has layers. The current as a feedback loop. The current isn't just outward. It's a loop, a constant exchange of influence between you and the frequencies you encounter. Sometimes you are the reminder that change is possible. Other times, you are reminded that evolution never stops. When the work is genuine, you don't see someone else's strength as a threat to your own. You see it as proof of what's available. Living the blueprint in your body. The code doesn't just live in your spirit. It changes the way you inhabit your body. You notice it in the mirror, the way you hold your shoulders, the way you stand differently now, not with tension, alignment. You feel it in your skin. The shedding wasn't just a metaphor. You've cut your hair or you've grown it out. You painted your nails long because you want to. You've pierced, adorned, or bared yourself in ways that feel like you. You tasted in your choices of food. Eating the food you once denied yourself. Buying the fruit that makes you feel decadent on an ordinary Tuesday. Cooking with herbs your grandmother would smile at. You sense it in your voice. Speaking without rehearsing the lines. Without cowering, without shrinking your tone to fit someone else's comfort. These are not small things. They are proof that your healing has a body, that your spirit's evolution isn't floating above you. It's anchoring into your muscles, your rituals, your daily life. That embodiment is what keeps you from drifting. It's what reminds you this is the work you were always meant to do. The disturbance. When the current meets the code. For those joining here, the code is the internal architect you built while in exile. It's your personal operating system. It's the boundaries you won't compromise. It's the pace you refuse to rush. The principles that kept your spirit running clean. It's not written on paper. It's written in you. When you step back into the world, the current you've cultivated collides with the currents already moving. Some will run parallel and amplify you. Others will try to flood your system. And here's where most burn out. They confuse resistance with malfunction. They think every strong wave requires them to brace or break. But a mastered current doesn't panic when the water shifts. It pivots, it reroutes, it keeps the circuitry dry. Because the current is energy, yes, but without the code, it's chaos. And without the current, the code is just potential. Together, they're a live wire that can power your path or power a storm. The point was never just survival. The current was always the point. Not just to move the waters around you, but to move through them without dissolving into someone else's tide. You're not here to prove you can swim harder than the undertow. You're here to prove that you can direct it, carry it where it's meant to go without letting it spill into your circuitry or short you out. The current is not proof you survive. It's proof you're still in motion. And when it meets the code you built, the living blueprint of your values, boundaries, and truths, it doesn't just carry your name. It carries it to the exact shore it was always meant to reach. Wait, hold on. Before you go, hold on. All right. You made it to this part of the episode. Thank you for staying, remaining, and watching. I want to give you an energetic cleanse with some Palo Santo. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Your likes, your shares, your follows, your reposts, all of that is much appreciated. I am Wolfie. This is the Empowered Shadows podcast, and I look forward to chatting with you another time. Take care.